One of the things we talk about as we get into this chapter, they talk about how the business environment requires a more computerized and more real time. And they talk about decision support systems. Uh, it's an aggressive change in the industry over the past 10 years to get this to be more of a computerized, a more solid foundation. Where before you might rely on people's experience and their gut feels, which and sometimes those are really good, especially with people with lots of experience. But those things are hard to maintain and they're also hard to plan for. So it's really critical and has been critical. So that companies are moving more to a computerized decision support, which is really the underpinnings of what business intelligence is. Decision support and business intelligence have the same kind of history. In fact, I would say that business intelligence is the next evolution of what decision support was. And we talk about the business pressures that happen in today that result in the uh, the crazy competitive environment you are today. Again, one of the things we talked about earlier is, I don't mean too much about Kroger, but that is where I work. 10 years ago, Kroger's major competitors were real simple. It was Walmart, it was Publix, it was Target even. But things changed. The introduction of this company called Amazon and its ability with Amazon Prime to be able to deliver groceries to the home completely changed the whole scale of who the competitor was and what they would do. And that's not the only industry. So yes, retail is definitely one, but Amazon's done the same. Think about bookstores. Bookstores are almost a dying breed. They almost don't exist anymore because Amazon's ability to send a book the very next day to your house immediately, or even read it online or download it immediately, makes some of those things almost it's almost impossible to find bookstores like you used to. You still have a few big ones, Barnes and Nobles and some of the others, but even they are feeling immense pressure from the folks like Amazon. So what's been so crazy about the business climate in many industries is the onboarding, the acceptance in the world of technology and how delivery to the home and anywhere, any place, anytime kind of mentality has really put pressure on businesses to react. That is something that's been coming over time, but has accelerated immensely in the last 5 to 10 years. And the key in those business pressures is how do you respond to those business pressures? What do you do to counter those? So if you have an Amazon in there, what happens? Well, Kroger and Walmart and those folks have put a huge issue on going online themselves and competing with Amazon in the online market. They have no other choice. They've done it. One of the things we'll talk about in a minute, in the next little bit, is globalization. Globalization has been going on for many, many years, but now with the invention, or I should say the invention, proliferation of online everything, it doesn't matter where the business is. They can ship anything to around the world in probably 3 days at the most, maybe four in some rare instances. But it just has changed everything, and that ones we'll talk about. And then the type of things you have to support to better enable your employees, your associates, your partners to be able to handle the process as you go forward in today's business and business climate. We're going to see right here in the next slide. As we talk about the environment, there's an old joke that there are no problems, only opportunities, and that's somewhat true. People who've been very successful in the business world have taken some of the biggest problems. For example, globalization. That's a huge problem for some businesses, but the people who are successfully counteract that, they use that as an advantage and take that opportunity. Maybe they're able to source their materials cheaper. Maybe they've opened up a new market to sell their products because of globalization. Instead of having that become a problem or an issue that's going to cause you grief, turn it around and take advantage of that and make those things available for you. And globalization is an excellent choice. And another one is technology. If you're not a technology company and that's not your strength, and now that is becoming a factor in your market, find a partner, find a system integrator, whatever it might be that can help you compete in that area. Those will make you more competitive and make you more robust in that regards. Again, in business environmental factors, we talk about globalization. That's one of the pressures that obviously has been huge, but it's been that way for many years now. But that globalization can be a positive or negative. One of the problems we're having today, or potential problems, I guess, is trade potential conflicts with China and the, uh, the tariffs talks. Those are all things that can cause real issues and real concerns in the business. You can take those as opportunities, however, and try to take advantage of those things. Um, you have government regulations. As we were talking about the vaccines and those things, California had one of the most restrictive uh, regulations on what they call hazardous waste. Just about anything you can imagine that can be used as a medicine or as a cream or any of those things, they consider hazardous waste. For example, any kind of thing that you would maybe put on for diaper rash for a baby, or cleansing for your skin, or even makeup removal. California has designated those things as hazardous waste. Those hazardous waste are significantly more expensive. It's significantly more difficult to dispose of. In fact, the U.S., in fact, the world does not have enough of those facilities to handle those type of hazardous waste conditions. It becomes a big issue. You also have to worry about the market condition. Like I said, we've been in a boom economy for 3 years, but there are times when the economy is in a recession or minor. We haven't really seen a depression since the 1930s, but you have to adjust to that, and you have to adjust to conflicts around the world. If there's trouble in the Middle East, or in potentially in places like in the continent of Africa, or wherever it may be, that can affect your ability to do business and how to do it. The key to all these things is how do you respond? You can do it by changing your strategy. When we talk about globalization, you can, as I mentioned, you can try to take a thing of, maybe I won't try to get as many products from China. Maybe I find a new vendor to supply me who's from Eastern Europe or from perhaps other parts of Asia. You look for different partners to work with you, to go together to help you. If you have a partner now that you're working with, and you want to expand it, finding other people to do it, and as long as you do it legally and all those things, those are all key. And this is something that's been the case in business for pretty much since the beginning of time, quite honestly, is you're always looking for increased productivity, how to make your product or service cheaper or more attractive, more usable to your customer. Those are all things that you can do to counteract or to respond to the business environment issues. And also look at new business models. How can you take what you do today and expand it? So Kroger and the Walmarts of the world, when Amazon came in, we had to look at how to change our business model. And as a result, Kroger and Walmart, as well as Target and many other retailers, are now heavily involved in the online thing. And there's some advantages that those retailers have over an Amazon, but we have to take advantage of those and be able to use our strength to go forward with that versus just kind of being bullied / pushed around by our friends at Amazon. And then finally, all these things come into what we're in this class for, and that's business intelligence, the decision support systems that are underlying that help you predict, analyze the model, your data, to figure out what that is. You're going to use an integrated computer decision systems to help you do those things. All those things then need to be visualized and disseminated to your customers and to the key analysis or analytic people in your industry or in your company. That's all under the umbrella of business intelligence, and that's what we'll spend a lot of time with in this class. As we go forward, we'll start taking a look at other items. You want to look at, again, the strong competition. You want to look at how to expand globally. You want to look at innovative marketing methods. How do I expand who I can get my product to, and who would be responsive to that product. You need for real-time on-demand decisions and transactions. People love customization. As I mentioned earlier, the world today is all about anytime, anywhere, any place. Anytime, any way, any place. You need to be able to handle those things. And technology is critical to that. If you cannot embrace technology, if you can't embrace social networking, whether you like it or not, it's a fact of today's business world and something we're critical to know. And also, you need to be aware of the societal things, as I mentioned, like the state of California. You need to know where things are going. You need to understand, as I mentioned uh, to another class of mine, if someone would have mentioned that Dick's Sporting Goods would consider not only not selling assault rifles, but any kind of uh, gun is part of their strategy 5 years ago, I would have called them crazy. But because of changes in societal thinking and pressures they're getting from certain parts of the market, for the first time, they're very much considering not selling guns. Those type of things you have to be aware of. And if you aren't able to do that, if your business plan can't adjust to those things, you could lead yourself in a lot of problems. And again, more and more companies, in fact, they just introduced a bill the other day to change what a corporation stands for, not just the for the benefit of the shareholders and for profit. They're talking about social responsibility, uh, key items like that. And I work for Kroger. One of the reasons I'm proud to work for Kroger is we are very active in those things. We have an initiative called Zero Hunger, Zero Waste, with a very lofty goal of trying to reduce uh, hunger and specifically the waste, the amount of waste we put into landfills over by 2025. It's a very lofty goal, and I'll be honest, I don't think we'll necessarily get there by 2025, but we're sure going to be a lot closer than we were. We're doing things like get rid of plastic bags. We're doing things about working with food banks so that when produce is about to expire, instead of today it being thrown out and not used, we're very quickly getting into the hands of people in local communities who can distribute that food. A lot of key things like that are going to be across many industries because that's more important not only to the consumer but to the people working at those companies. Uh, the next generations are always looking for the right place, the right type of company to work at. More as you mentioned, you need to be able to be anticipate, adapt, and even be proactive as you respond to the pressures and the changes in the business. You need to look at you need to be constantly looking forward for new innovative business models. You need to be able to restructure your business, whether it means you can no longer manufacturing something that you've always manufactured. You need to be able to be collaborative with other businesses and getting alliances. And there's more things here in the book, and you can read online. But these are all key items of how you respond and how you can adapt to the tough marketplace and how you do those things. As we move forward, we're talking about you know closing the strategy gap. One of the key things in decision support systems it is how to get the correct information and express those data that information you're given as part of your mission objectives and make those goals and help you create the strategy to achieve those goals. That's all key to what business intelligence does and the data we are mining from our systems and from our interactions with our customers and our vendors to make this a very key element of our strategy going forward in the business.